Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the panel discussion on International Women's Day. Firstly, to all the women out there, happy International Women's Day to all of you. As we are celebrating International Women's Day today, as a part of this celebration, Connecting Dream Foundation has organized a panel discussion on a very, very important topic, which is women changemakers driving social impact. I would like to extend warm greetings to each one of you as we celebrate women and their contributions to build a sustainable community and empower other women in leading an independent life. As we continue to build a more diverse and equitable society, our esteemed panelists today will engage in a very inspiring discussion on women changemakers driving social impact. I would like to introduce my co-moderator, Samakshi, to share a little bit about each of our panelists.
Thank you so much, Archie, for introducing me. Uh, we are humbled to have great women panelist, Dr. Sapna Narula, currently serving at Nalanda University, India. She is professor and dean of School of Management Studies. She has made immense contributions to the discipline through her teaching, research, and consultancy efforts as a distinguished academician in sustainability. She has taught a range of subjects such as sustainability management, sustainability reporting, corporate social responsibility, sustainable business strategy, and business ecosystems and community. Dr. Simi Mishra, social catalyst for building inclusive societies. She is a committed and passionate person for developing skills to drive change at a grassroots level. In this space, her work focuses on system-led social interventions through the use of relevant and technology-enabled content, youth volunteer network, and mentor development. During the last few years, she has worked for corporates, government at district, state, and national levels in the areas of social entrepreneurship, localization, and sustainable development goals, using volunteering as a model. I'd like to introduce Piyusha Abhi, who is an MBA graduate who decided to come up with novel solution by establishing a self-help recycling, altering, and manufacturing group, Shram, in 2008 for young women of village Bata Mandi, Himachal Pradesh. They are actively involved in making handcrafted products and processing organic food. Shram is more than just a women-powered business. It is a transition towards a more inclusive and sustainable future and rural women who work as a catalyst. Next, we have Shanima Islam from Bangladesh. She is the founder of Her Walk initiative, which aims to empower women and to encourage them to come forward and take big steps in earning income. She is also a CDF Global Changemaker Fellow 2021-22. The project focuses on providing a platform where women can establish an online food delivery system in order to earn their livelihood. Along with this, under the initiative, various counseling sessions were organized targeting the women population. We look forward to learning more from each one of you.
To begin this panel discussion, I think the first question that I would like all of you to talk a little bit about is, according to you, how do you see women change makers driving social impact? And you can also talk about your experiences and how have you done this, just creating social impact as women change makers?
When I was doing my summer internship, I got an opportunity to do a farmer survey in North India. And as a young girl, an MSc student in Delhi University, I was really hesitant to go. And when my course coordinator of botany department, he asked me, no, we are not going to take any girls from next year because you are not going. That word, that sentence had a lot of impact on me, that, this is going to block careers of many girls in the coming generations. So I immediately agreed, because I was earlier arguing with him that I need a lab job and I don't want to travel to field. So I immediately agreed to that suggestion of his, and I had to travel to Punjab, Haryana, Bengal, and even in the rural areas with the farmers. And let me just tell you that opened my eyes. My academic curriculum Of course, I was a bright student, but I think that even that brightness or that, good marks in academics hardly mattered for me. Whatever I learned from the field. I would say that women workforce in this country and especially in South Asia, they have a lot of potential. I'm not, um, comparing ourselves with the developed countries, women, but if you travel across Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, you see, women has got twin roles. On one hand, they are very committed towards the family. They, at the same time, they are very committed towards their profession as well. So they have a lot of potential. They have a lot of power to change this world. They are the right kind of change makers, and through their compassionate leadership, they can actually make a change in the society. This is what I believe.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing. Simi, ma'am, would you like to share your thoughts on this question?
So I think as a woman, when we come out in the open, and I realized this much later when I started to work, that, women are not always looked upon as an equal to a man in the society. Before that, I had no conditioning to believe that I was, any lesser, any like getting access to opportunities, getting access to resources, or getting access to any kind of a, like feeling. So I think a lot of it kind of goes back to your own family, your own upbringing, and the kind of, society that you live in. If people are expecting me to do something, take it as a challenge. Why can you not do it? So take it up as a challenge, take it up as a, maybe for the first time you're doing something. It doesn't matter, because whatever small thing it may be, maybe it is for the first time that you are doing it. Maybe somebody else is also facing the same problem somewhere else. But for you, it is your first time experience. And if you can take it up as a challenge and do it well, why not? Just give it a try. Like you may fail, you may understand how to do it better, but at least give it a try.
Thank you so much, Simi, ma'am. And I think in different ways, it reminds me of something that I've seen often on different social media handles, right? That as women, we might cry, but the next day we'll come back stronger no matter what the challenge. And I think it truly captures what you just said, in a beautiful way. Thank you so much for sharing. Piyusha, ma'am.
Right.
Thank you, Archie, and thank you very much for this opportunity to make me a part of this discussion with such accomplished ladies. Thank you, Simi ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experiences. Great change makers, and I have been always inspired by my father. I did my MBA, but what he taught me was to do MBWA. MBWA meant management by walking around, and it actually meant my father had this concrete manufacturing unit in Himachal, and where he manufactures concrete loom pipes. So, MBWA, when he meant MBWA, it meant that I had to actually be there with the workforce, his workers, his labor working, and see how it's being done. So, right from getting labor for his factory, going to sabji mandis, and trying to get people there to work in our factory, to get labor for harvesting our crops in our organic farm, I have done it all. And I must tell you, it's been a great experience, driving the car with 5 big men sitting besides you and, getting them to harvest your crop. It really meant something. And there was a time when I was so famous in Bihar, people actually said कि एक हिमाचल में एक मैडम है, वो गाड़ी में आती है और लोगों को काम दिलाती है और अपने खेतों पे काम दिलाती है. And ever since I started Shram, it's been all the more. It's been a learning experience for me. And yes, I can share an experience here. Like when one of my school dropout girls, she got married. She refused to get married until and unless her in-laws constructed a proper washroom for her. So this means that we had empowered them in such a way that they are ready to bring about change in their lives and in the lives of others.
Thank you so much for sharing that, ma'am. And I think just visualizing that picture of you driving a car with men sitting next to you. Shanima, would you like to share your thoughts on this question?
Since my childhood, I faced lots of problems, like problems of gender inequalities. Actually, I can say you about my family too. Like when I was in undergrad, my brother was also in undergrad, but the university level, his university was far better than mine, because my family, my mother and everyone has a dream. Okay, he's a boy and he need to build a strong career and he need to go abroad, so his university should be the most reputed university. He need to take care of a family because he will be the responsible of his wife. So yeah, I agreed on that, and I got admitted in another different university. That if you have ability, you should do the best. A part of gender biasness, I think that time the things will work more smoothly and without any hurt. For us, we females sometimes get hurt. Gender rights or women freedom, women rights is not anything. I think human rights should be the main thing, and since my childhood till now, I always think about it. When in my organization, there are both male and female working together, but I never seen. So these days, I am trying to take more female young volunteers to my organization, and I always try to send them in critical programs like menstruation, family program. I said you will hold it, and I said the women that please don't become shy, because like they are also someone's brother, they are also someone, they will be someone's father. So yeah, the gender inequality that I have faced since my childhood, now I am trying to break it out through my young volunteers, young community, youth community. That's how I am working, and yeah, it's going on like this.
Thank you for sharing.
Moving ahead, my next question is that what are some barriers that you feel women change makers face, and what do you have what was your source of motivation?
Social work is a different kind of field. It requires passion, it requires commitment, it requires hard work, sincerity. When the communities need you, you have to be there, irrespective of it is your marriage day or something else, right? So they only see sincerity and commitment whether you are a male or female. So I have always seen, whether these were the farmers in Punjab, Haryana, or in Bengal, or in Jharkhand, these were, mining communities, I have always felt accepted. First of all, we have to break these perceptions. And who can break these perceptions? We the females, right? So nowadays you will find that there are more females in leadership roles as well. So like we are sitting in some leadership roles, so we know that we have to promote the girls. In 1990s, when we were growing up, maybe we did not find this kind of support in the professional space. So this barrier, I think, has been broken. Support. So this is one, common perceptions. We have to treat ourselves as equal, whether male or female. Second is that, those barriers of finance and investment, funding agencies. I see a lot of work now. Simi and Amit are doing a lot of work on transgenders. So we more finance and investment should come in gender responsive technologies. Gender, we have to develop in a gender just manner. So women are always more vulnerable, whether it is the war, it is the disaster, or it is a Himalayan tragedy, or climate change. On one hand, when there is climate change, men migrate, whereas women stay there. They experience the disasters. For example, in Uttarakhand and in other Himalayan Nepal, you see a lot of women working in the farmers, whereas the farm implements, these are, and these people who are in the hilly areas, these women are shorter in height, whereas farm implements are made for strong men. So no farm implement company has ever, thought about having instruments for females. Whereas, a lot of women workforce, men, they go to army and other places. females work. So we have to talk about these gender responsive technologies, whether it comes to climate change or use of renewable energy, or so that is when we can say that, you know, we are gender equal. And this use of gender responsive technologies, new research would require a lot of finance and investment.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. Simi, ma'am, would you like to share your thoughts?
Absolutely, Archie. I think I'll just add on to what Sapna ji just brought out. She brought out some very important, issues that our society continues to face, and these are not new issues. I mean, if I went back even maybe 2 or 3 centuries, I'm sure these issues did exist even then. So instead of like celebrating the achievements and kind of making the society more inclusive, we should kind of focus on what is it that we really want to do. So gender equality, like Shamima mentioned, it's not just a basic human right, but it's also about after achieving the basic human right, it has an enormous, absolutely enormous impact on the socio-economic condition of a society. So empowering women fuels a whole lot of thriving economies, spurring productivity, spurring growth. And yet what happens is that gender inequality remains absolutely deeply entrenched in every single society. I mean, we look upon the West as a progressive society, but if you look upon the West and you look at the data of gender-based violence that happens over there, I think you will get the answers over there that the layer of social well-being is very, very fragile over there. So same with us also. In addition to that, like Sapna ji mentioned, that women in India lack access to decent work, face huge amount of occupational segregation. There is gender wage gaps that are there, and often they opt to kind of pick up jobs that are softer in nature, that teacher, nurse, maybe like a front office assistant, which is basically nurturing and considered to be soft jobs. This is actually kind of now coming to an end, but still you would see a large amount of change that is needed. We need the society to be such that there is no woman left behind. But what are the supporting things that we could do? Because it's not just the women that kind of spiral upwards. It also, when a woman kind of grows, it also means that the entire household grows, the entire society grows, the community grows.
Thank you so much, Simi ma'am, for sharing and throwing light on how complex small things can make an impact on somebody. And
okay, if I am talking about the barriers, firstly, I think that lack of trust, lack of confidence, lack of safety, these are the 3 core things we need to handle everyday lives. Because if I am talking about lack of confidence, when I am working for women empowerment, when I am trying to create opportunities, income opportunities for them, or I'm trying to improve their livelihoods, the first thing I am facing problem about is lack of trust, that people can't trust women that you can hold a good leadership role or you can implement your project nicely because you don't have any male backup, or there is no male partner with you. In my organization, I am the only one who is working. I don't have any partner. So when I present anything anywhere, there is a question: are you alone, or if you have any co-founder? No, I don't need any co-founder because I am working alone and I'm working fine, right? So this is the one thing that people lack trust, people lack confidence. And second, another social barriers is that Simi also told that compensations, biasness, or in corporate people are so conscious about harassment. So wherever women are working, every place should be feel like a home, right? If your female are safe at home, they should be also safe at the corporates or anywhere they are working. So why can't we give the women the space that they can feel safe like home everywhere? So yeah, taking risk and not losing hope. These 2 things are my 2 survival models now I am working within.
Thank you so much for sharing that and also sharing how you have done it or how you've overcome this. Just hearing from different things, Shanima, you shared, or Sapna ma'am, you shared, or Singh ma'am, you shared. Like, I know you're also leading different people, supporting different beneficiaries who are working directly with you, or you've been associated with them indirectly as consulting them, or just being mentors for them. Like, when you see these women change makers actively working, facing these barriers, what are some things that you have done actively to keep them motivated and not give up? Or if there was a time where you faced something like this, how did you keep yourself going up? Like, at times, that there are times when you feel like
women are more compassionate, they have more commitment. So why don't we as women look for gender responsive climate solutions? Number one, we should take part in all the decisions. For example, even when it comes to COVID-19 vaccine, mostly in the rural areas, the decision about the vaccine was being taken by the males of the house. They did not allow females to take the decision about their own health. Whether it comes to even in the urban areas, if a woman has to deliver a child, the entire family will decide in what hospital this child will be delivered. So I think decision making at the women level, I'm not saying that women should ignore or neglect the family's advice, but women has to participate, whether it is the rural area or the urban area. So women has to participate in the decision making, whether it is at the board level or it is at the local level or it is at the family level. The more you are involved in decision making, the more gender balanced a decision would be. Even when it comes to running the country, if we have 50% as the women ministers, I'm sure it will be a gender responsive decision making or policy that we will be talking about. So decision making is must. For example, in Panchayati Raj institutions, our government has done a lot to increase women's participation, and that is paying, right? So in developing countries, you see that Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, even India have had women prime ministers. They have, even now you will find that there are many women ministers in our government. So more participation of women, more their engagement would help us. So this is something I think they have to come out as leader.
So what I would say is that, what keeps me going is the fact that I know that there is a lacuna, and I know that that lacuna is not just to me. For some things, maybe it is, you can use the lens of women's rights. You can call it a feminist movement. You can call it, anything that you want to. And I know that, if I go back historically, all of these have won some very important battles. But we still have a very long way to go. And being a minority is not just about the size of the population. I think to me, it means the amount of power that it carries. And when I look into my own work, I think, I work with the LGBTQ community, and empowering the women amongst that community, specifically trans women, to overcome certain barriers. Now, LGBTQ community, as you know, it is a minority group. There are important spaces, experiences, outcomes. All of them are kind of, interwoven together. And for both women and the trans women, I feel that, there is a fundamental need to kind of stand together and seek the progress that we urgently need as a society. So whatever I do, I think it is for the others, but the struggle that is kind of, at the base of it all, that is where I think, my revulsion towards it, my revolt towards it, my wanting to kind of change that. And if I can make it change even by a small centimeter, a millimeter, an inch, I think my job is done, and I feel much better for it.
So, as if we are talking about barriers and handling barriers, I think for me, I always try to control my emotion, because it's the most hardest thing we are always struggling to control your emotion, to get hurt, and so emotion control is the main thing. And if you are working in a community, you have to work with different mindset peoples. Like everyone will not act with you in a same style. There are different perspectives, they have different values, and they have different ethics and approaches to work with you. People like us who are social worker, we are not actually working for ourselves, we are working for others, and we are trying to find peace among them.
Thank you so much, Shanima, and thank you so much, Simi ma'am. It was lovely to hear about your source of motivation, and I think we can also relate to it. We would also like to derive motivation from what you just shared. My last question, both as we are moving towards the end of the session, is that like you, there are many other young change makers, women change makers that are entering this field, that are just exploring what this entire change making thing is about, and are really wanting to be one of the social activists like you are. So my question to you is, like, if you had to give, what would be your message to young women social change makers that are upcoming in this field?
So the biggest lesson that I have learned in my life is that, nobody can make a change for you. You have to do it yourself. And the only thing that, sometimes people need is the strength, the ability to kind of, maybe talk and understand what is the process, or maybe, consult with someone. Eventually, everybody is responsible for their own selves. So let me share a very small example. Just today morning, because it's Women's Day, this is my fourth call actually today to celebrate Women's Day. So the very first call was a global marathon, which is being run from morning to evening. And every speaker is given a 10-minute slot to kind of, start off. And this is following the sun. So because I'm a mentor to a couple of people over there in that particular group, so they reached out to me, and I was one step closer to wherever they want to go. So if you go back and kind of look at my first lecture in the morning, and you will see that at 6:45 there is a trans woman by the name of Pia Kapoor who's been given the opportunity to speak, and she's doing it for the first time in a global platform. I think the minute I kind of, told her that this is what it is, she was very excited. She understood the impact of it, that, it's going to be a global opportunity where a whole lot of women are going to come and talk about Women's Day. But after a minute, she kind of, asked me this question, but ma'am, karna kya hoga? Right? So I told her that kuch nahi karna hai. You just have to kind of, talk about yourself. Don't be intimidated by the fact that whether you know English or not, or if the next speaker is going to be talking about in some other language, because when they go country by country, when they reach France, everybody's going to be speaking French. So when you are in India, if you speak in Hindi, that's absolutely fine, but get your point across. So I think from that perspective, what it means to me is that, providing what I strongly believe in, is providing the opportunity to the right people at the right time helps them to kind of, go across the journey. And here I would like to emphasize that all opportunities given either before or after their time is actually a wasted effort. So as an enabler, it is your duty to also make sure that whoever you're giving the opportunity to is able to make use of that opportunity and is able to kind of actualize it and understand the potential of it.
Firstly, I would say don't don't kill your time. If you have any intention, or if you love it, just start a little bit attempt, like a little bit motivation, a little bit gestures is important for us to bring in any change. So yeah, it was a message from me. It's not about only young generation. I will also convey it to the older generation. If you can, try to just contribute. This world is not so big. Actually, if we work together, there will be no poverty and there will be peace, and we all together can establish it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shanima. And I think the big takeaways that I'm taking just hearing what Simi ma'am and you shared is that for every opportunity, there's the right time, and how you make use of that opportunity is really, really important. I think from what you shared, Shanima, just the ripple effect that happens as you do good to others and it spreads across. I think I'm going to take that away from just hearing the two of you. Thank you so much once again for taking out the time and being part of this panel discussion. It was an absolute pleasure hearing from Simi ma'am, you, Shanima, Piyusha ma'am, as well as Dr. Sapna Narula. Thank you once again, and thank you everyone who's joined us live or as a part of this call. And once again, to all the women out there, a very happy International Women's Day to all of you. Thank you.